Donald J. Trump. The name itself evokes a whirlwind of emotions and opinions. But before the White House, before the reality shows, there was a young man from Queens with a nose for business, born into a family already involved in real estate. Trump seemed destined for a life of deal-making. He learned the ropes from his father, Fred Trump, a successful developer who instilled in his son a drive to succeed no matter the cost. Trump took that drive and ambition to the Wharton School of the University of Pennsylvania. Though some have questioned his academic achievements, Trump emerged from Wharton ready to make his mark. He joined the family business, quickly proving his mettle. He had a knack for seeing potential where others saw only obstacles. He wasn't afraid to take risks, to push boundaries, to challenge the status quo. His early projects in Manhattan cemented his reputation as a brash, ambitious builder. He revitalized aging properties and erected gleaming skyscrapers that reshaped the city skyline. The Grand Hyatt Hotel, Trump Tower. These became symbols of his growing empire, but Trump's ambition wasn't limited to bricks and mortar. He craved recognition, a spotlight that extended beyond the world of real estate. He plastered his name on everything from buildings to airplanes to steaks, building a brand that was as much about image as it was about substance. This desire for recognition for a bigger stage would ultimately lead him down a path that few could have predicted, a path that would take him from the boardroom to the Oval Office. The making of a tycoon was complete. The making of a president was about to begin. The turn of the millennium saw Donald Trump embrace a new stage reality television. The Apprentice, a show that pitted aspiring entrepreneurs against each other for a chance to work in the Trump organization, became a smash hit. Week after week, millions tuned in to hear Trump utter the now iconic phrase, "You're fired." The show did more than just boost Trump's already considerable wealth. It crafted a new persona for the businessman. No longer just a builder, he was now a cultural icon, a master of the boardroom, a dispenser of wisdom and tough love. The Apprentice presented Trump as the ultimate self-made man, someone who had achieved success through sheer grit and determination. This image resonated with a large segment of the American public, particularly those who felt left behind by the economic and social changes of the early 21st century. Trump, with his blunt talk and disdain for political correctness, became a voice for the voiceless, or at least that's how his supporters saw him. His time on reality television honed his skills as a showman, a master of grabbing attention and controlling the narrative. He understood the power of entertainment, of keeping people engaged, even if it meant blurring the lines between reality and spectacle. These skills, often honed in the boardroom and on the set of The Apprentice, would prove invaluable in the years to come when Trump would set his sights on an even bigger prize, the presidency of the United States. The year was 2015. The political establishment, both Democrat and Republican, watched in disbelief as Donald J. Trump descended the golden escalator in Trump Tower to announce his candidacy for President of the United States. His campaign launch was pure Trump, bold, brash, and full of promises to make America great again. Few took his candidacy seriously at first. Pundits scoffed, politicians dismissed him as a sideshow, but Trump had his finger on the pulse of a nation hungry for change, a nation disillusioned with the status quo. He tapped into a deep vein of anger and resentment, particularly among white working-class Americans who felt left behind by globalization and ignored by the political elite. His message was simple, direct, and often inflammatory. He railed against illegal immigration, promised to bring back jobs from overseas, and vowed to drain the swamp of Washington corruption. He eschewed the traditional language of politics, opting instead for a style that was raw, unfiltered, and often offensive to his detractors. But his supporters loved it. They saw in Trump someone who spoke their language, someone who wasn't afraid to say what they were thinking. His rallies became must-see events filled with chanting supporters and a palpable sense of energy. His campaign was unconventional, to say the least. He bypassed traditional media outlets, relying instead on social media to connect directly with voters. He weathered a series of scandals that would have sunk any other candidate, and he effectively exploited the deep divisions within the Republican Party to secure the nomination. His victory over Hillary Clinton in the general election shocked the world. Against all odds, the political novice, the reality TV star, the man who had never held elected office, was now the most powerful person on the planet. The Trump era had begun. During his presidency, Donald Trump adopted a distinctive approach to foreign policy. He emphasized an America First strategy, aiming to prioritize the interests of the United States above all else. This philosophy led to a series of bold and, at times, controversial decisions on the global stage. One of the most notable aspects of Trump's foreign policy was his stance on trade. He renegotiated several trade agreements, including the North American Free Trade Agreement, which was replaced by the United States-Mexico-Canada Agreement. Trump argued that these changes were necessary to protect American jobs and industries. In addition, Trump took a hard line on immigration, implementing stringent policies aimed at curbing illegal immigration. This included the construction of a border wall with Mexico, which became a highly debated topic throughout his tenure. Another significant aspect of Trump's foreign policy was his approach to international alliances. He often criticized NATO members for not meeting their defense spending commitments and pushed for a re-evaluation of the United States' role in global security arrangements. Trump's relationship with other world leaders was also a focal point of his foreign policy. He engaged in high-profile meetings with leaders such as Kim Jong-un of North Korea, aiming to address nuclear proliferation issues. These efforts, while groundbreaking, received mixed reactions, both domestically and internationally. Overall, Trump's foreign policy was characterized by a willingness to challenge the status quo and pursue unconventional methods to achieve his objectives. His tenure left a lasting impact on the global political landscape, sparking debates that continue to this day. Donald Trump, a name that has become synonymous with disruption, has left an indelible mark on American politics. His unconventional methods and bold rhetoric have redefined the political landscape. From his early days in business to his tenure in the White House, Trump has always been a figure who defies expectations and norms. His approach has garnered both fervent support and intense criticism, making him a polarizing figure in modern history. As with any influential figure, Trump's legacy is a mix of praise and condemnation. Supporters laud him for his straightforward approach, economic policies, and efforts to challenge the status quo. They see him as a champion of the common man, a disruptor who brought a fresh perspective to Washington. On the other hand, critics argue that his divisive rhetoric and controversial policies have deepened societal divides and damaged international relations. The debate over his impact continues to rage on, reflecting the complex nature of his influence. Even after his presidency, Trump's influence shows no signs of waning. He remains a dominant force in the Republican Party and continues to shape political discourse. His rallies draw massive crowds and his endorsements can make or break political careers. The media too continues to focus on his every move, ensuring that he remains a central figure in American politics. The story of Donald Trump is far from over, and its next chapters promise to be just as compelling as those that have come before. Whether one views him as a hero or a villain, there's no denying that Donald Trump has left a permanent mark on American politics. His tenure has reshaped the Republican Party and influenced the strategies of politicians across the spectrum. The policies he implemented, the controversies he sparked, and the movements he inspired will be studied for years to come. As we look to the future, it's clear that the era of Trump has fundamentally altered the course of American history.